We have Ellen Young. Yay! Ellen is a really special person. She has so much to share. So this is going to be a golden video. Ellen, tell us a little bit about your own healing journey, if you will.
There's so much to say. Okay, to start with, I am currently diagnosed with terminal cancer. But don't be alarmed because I'm actually getting better. Terminal cancer is something you don't get better from. I have a recurrence of uterine cancer, endometrial cancer. It's very serious. My oncologist, who I'm no longer seeing, but I don't think she thought I would be doing this well by any means, but she first operated on me in 2011 for the initial cancer, and then it came back, and she operated on me last year in April and was able to get 90% of the tumor that had regrown. There was still 10% she wasn't able to get. I assume it was mixed in with other organs. I don't know. Now, I had had pain for quite a while, and she kept saying, and my other doctor kept saying, it's not due to cancer. So I was going to a chiropractor. I was going to an acupuncturist. The pain would get really bad. And finally, I got a scan. She said, the cancer's back. She went in and cut it out, 90% out, and she said, oh, by the way, that pain is caused by the cancer. It was pressing on a bone. So for me, cancer has been the main, pain has been the main symptom all along. You know, even when it first came, I had cancer or pain, and when it recurred, pain for quite some months before it was actually determined that that was cancer. So pain has been a big issue for me. Some cancers you don't have much pain until it's really advanced. I think I was a stage 2. I might still be a stage 2 simply because it's not advancing. Stage 3 means it's gone through your lymph nodes. It may have, but it doesn't seem to have affected any organs yet. However, it was supposed to go through my lymph nodes and affect other organs. You know, my oncologist was very clear there was no recovering from this. Now, this oncologist teaches at Stanford. She knows what she's doing. You know, she's pretty bona fide in every way. She had her hands on the tumor twice. This is a real tumor. And pain is a real symptom of the tumor. There was also some other symptoms I've had. One is that I was unable to, this became worse and worse, properly pee because I was getting crowded because the tumor is down in my pelvic area. So it was crowding me out. This was kind of getting a little worrisome to me. Anyway, now that's not a problem anymore. So the almost total lack of pain now and my ability to void my bladder in a normal way both say to me, I'm getting better. Plus, I feel healthy almost all the time. I do have a doctor here, a nurse. The nurse says in her 19 years of working with people in palliative care, which is, you know, end-of-life care, this doesn't happen. So, I think I'm getting better. Now, what happened? Oh, self-love, Debbie. I decided this could be healed. I didn't know if I could do it, but I decided, because I'd read so many accounts of people who'd healed from terminal cancer, including my sister 5 years ago, I thought, well, it's possible to do it. My sister had stage 4 melanoma recurrence, which means you die, pretty much. And her oncologist said, you know, you have a few months left to live. She gave her this option of this horrible chemotherapy that could add a little time, but it would, you know, be miserable. My sister said, no, I'm going to see if I can live. And she just, like me, she went out and said, does anyone else live from this? Did anyone else ever recover from this? And she found someone had. Someone wrote a book. She got the book. She read it. She decided maybe she could recover. And she did. Very easily. I was amazed. And 5 years later, she's still going strong. Once again, that was a bona fide, verifiable cancer. She still goes in for checkups. Her oncologist is, of course, always very pleased. She's doing so well. So, she was my role model. I said, I'm going to see if I can heal too. And because I believe very strongly that our beliefs affect what happens in our lives, and I know it's not as simple as just wiggling your nose and suddenly everything that you want happens. There's a whole lot of complicated things going on under the surface, but I believe it's possible to create things that other people think aren't possible. You know, the consensus reality says once you get terminal cancer, the oncologist, as a friend of mine says, she gave you a curse, you know, she cursed you. Like the way she presented it was, oh my God. She told me I had to do this radiation and chemotherapy, which would not save my life. She was very clear on that. They would give me more time. They would also make me very sick. You know, and I said no, and she just tried to scare the crap out of me, and you know, all the things that would happen to my body. It was very gruesome. So, as my friend said, she gave you a curse. She cursed you. This whole image of, you know, this is all going to happen to you, Ellen. And I thought, well, what if it doesn't? What if I start giving myself positive curses? Like, you
I
know,
like
things
that.
really do work out well for you, Ellen. Things tend to work out well for you. I often believe this, you know, that I have a special way of making things. Things do work out for me. I think that a lot. All my life I have. Things do work out for me. So I just started thinking that way. And Debbie Ann, self-love was the primary tool. It was the basis. I immediately threw myself into self-love because I thought I'm not going to get anywhere without that because it makes it, my little doggy, he just does that. Ignore him. He starts growling.
Well, it's sort of apropos, like he's representing, like growling at the information you're getting from the medical establishment. No, I don't accept that. You know,
That's
because
right. I
that's part
know.
that's part of self love is saying no to things that don't work for you, even though they mean
Exactly.
well. I mean, that doctor, she wanted the best for you. They mean well. They come from the heart, of course, but their belief systems are limited.
Right. So I started what I call saturating myself with self-love. I do this thing called EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. A lot of people have heard of it. It's called tapping, meridian tapping. You tap on these acupuncture points, and you tap away the negative. So I think of all the curses this doctor put on me. I did a lot of tapping to release, you know, oh my God, the horrible things that are going to happen to my colon and everything, all this awful stuff. I tapped away that to lower my own anxiety. And then I would just walk around doing fingertip tapping because it's very easy. Nobody knows you're doing it. You just walk around tapping all the time and tapping self-love into me. You know, can I really love myself while I'm scared to death? Can I really love myself while I'm not creating help? Can I love myself if this horrible thing has happened to me and I feel kind of guilty? I feel kind of responsible. Oddly enough, that's not an uncommon feeling for people who get cancer, especially people who are into positive thinking or health. You know, someone who's vegetarian and runs and they get a cancer diagnosis. They're like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? That's very common. People who aren't vegetarian, I'm not vegetarian, so I don't blame it on meat at all, but it's people who have really horrible habits in every way. You know, oh, what did I do wrong? Everybody, you know, it's very easy to think, I did something wrong. So I didn't want to go around feeling that. So I would just walk around. I would take myself out on these long walks and just, because you do get in these states of high anxiety. There's this thing in you. It's going to kill you, right? Well, maybe it won't, but how am I going to get to where I really believe it won't? You know, there's a process to go through. It's like if you're going to paint a room or if you're going to sew an outfit, there's prep work. You got to prep. You got to tape the windows, you know, lay down the drop cloth. If you're going to sew, you got to cut everything out very carefully. And that's how, when I was younger, I was way too impatient to prep things properly. I remember learning over my life, oh, the prep is very important. To me, self-love is the prep work for healing. So I would just, you know, do this tapping and try to just tap down to the layers, the guilt, the fear, whatever was there. And I would always say, well, can I love myself while this is happening? I do have guilt. Can I love myself anyway? Can I love the part of me that doesn't love it? That was a big one, you know. 'Cause that part of me is real. That part of me that's scared shitless is very real, and I can't just wish it away or say I love you. And I have to love the part of me that doesn't love it. You know, the part of me that really wishes it would go away, for crying out loud. I have to love that part, all of it.
Yeah. And isn't that a big part of the power of EFT is like getting real with yourself and bringing out
Very
all that
much.
stuff that you'd want to sweep under the rug otherwise that
Getting real with yourself, right?
while you're
And I
tapping to
just,
clear it, right?
right, right. You don't hang on to it. You want to get rid of it. Um, or make room. I think of it as you make room for other stuff. It's better. I would go around doing all this tapping, and I felt like more and more I was getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and I could welcome all these parts of myself. You know, every bit of fear, every bit of me that wishes this, I wasn't like this, or this wasn't happening, whatever. I can just say, you're a part of me. The cancer's a part of me. It's part of my body. You know, you're all a part of me. So I would imagine this big table. You are welcome to be here. You're welcome to be here. I'm not always sure why you're here, but you're welcome to be here. You know, we're all part of the same family that's Ellen. This was really powerful, you know.
I bet.
And over time, especially the first couple months, really helpful.
Because you're dropping your resistance. Most people, of course, you initially have resistance. I don't want this thing. It's bad. I
Okay.
want it out of here. I want to get rid of it. I want to release it. But saying, okay, it's okay. You know, radical acceptance. That's what I'm into. Radical self-acceptance. And that's exactly what
Yeah.
you're describing. I love it.
Right, and especially a lot of people will say, okay, I'm going to love myself, but they don't get to that layer below. You know, I love the part of me that doesn't love myself. You know, all those, yeah, really getting real. What's really dirty and mucky, and I don't want to love that. I don't want to even know it's there. Whatever it is that makes me go, ugh, or, you know, turn away. If I can't say I love it, I will love the part of me that loves it. You know, because part of me loves everything.
Right.
Part, you know, I come from source energy, so I have the capacity to love every single thing. My conscious mind can't always do that. So I would say the part of me that does love that part, I love that. So
Beautiful.
in that way, I feel like, yeah, I could create this whole loving family, and my conscious witness to it all, you know, was just here. I was the one saying, okay, I see you all, and here we are. Let's go.
So you said earlier how a lot of people look for the reason, like, what have I done wrong? You know, is it something I was eating or doing, or, you know, what's the cause? And that makes sense because we want to make sense of this. We don't want to think that it's a random occurrence. Like, that's kind of mainstream thinking, like disease is just a boogeyman out there that might get you statistically, right? It's sort of random.
Right.
So it makes sense to think, well, there's a cause and effect going on. There's something here, but what is it? But because we're so trained to focus on physical reality almost exclusively, people tend to look at, you know, diet and exercise and that sort of thing, the physical things, and bypass the emotional aspects of it. So I was just wondering if you have any insights into that, like if you're into Louise Hay, if you got any message out of this. Was there something that you realized as a result of having this experience?
Oh, this is a huge answer. Will we have all day? Yes. Yes, and for me it goes way beyond Louise Hay because, you know, I feel like, yeah, I went into like, okay, I'm going to juice the vegetables. You know how sickening it gets after a while. Eating, I mean, like after about 6 weeks, please, you know, if I never drink any more carrot juice. But some people will tell you have to do that or you'll never heal. And I thought, is that really true?
That's a belief
And
system, right?
it's a belief system, but a lot of us have it whether we're aware of it or not. We think vegetables are good for us. Who doesn't think vegetables are good for you?
That's
So a
right.
lot of vegetables is really good for you. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
um,
it is a belief system, but sometimes you have to go the path of least resistance. You go with what you believe, right? Instead of trying to change all your beliefs around that. That just makes
right,
sense.
right. And I also did some alternative healing with a doctor in San Francisco, a holistic doctor. Um, Mistletoe therapy, which is used in Germany a lot. It's a conventional treatment in Germany. It's a natural chemotherapy. Vitamin C infusions. This stuff was really good. I didn't want to do anything that was going to hurt me. You know, I wanted to keep my immune system as strong as it could be and hopefully make it stronger. I think those treatments I did helped keep the cancer from growing quickly, which my oncologist told me it would. You know, it didn't seem to grow that quickly. So, okay, what caused it? I do believe it was caused by something in my vibration. I know a lot of people don't like that idea, but to me, that's how I've lived my life. You know, something in me is bringing about something in my life. It makes total sense to me. And I think it's more than simply doing a lot of energy work. So let's say I don't believe juicing is going to cure me, mistletoe is going to cure me. It's really about my vibration. I do a lot of energy work. Then what? So what it finally came down to me and where my symptoms started reversing was self work, changing beliefs. One book in particular is a doctor in Taiwan who's been doing for years, working with cancer patients, changing their beliefs, and they heal. He's got this whole healing village. I guess he's apparently kind of renowned in Taiwan, Dr. Shu. And he has a book it's printed in the United States now. I was very excited to hear that. I heard about him for years. I think it's called The Secret to Healing Cancer. Something sounds kind of corny. But it's all about, if you have cancer, something is not being expressed. There's some strong need you have that you are not following through on. And that just like, whoa. I knew immediately what it was. I had a dream I'd been working on. I don't even know if I want to go into this publicly. Anyway, it was a big deal.
That's okay, you don't have
For
to.
years. And I failed. It was a failure. And it wasn't it was a book I was writing. I actually got an agent. I could have published it. I mean, a real New York agent. It didn't even take me long. I'm a good writer. I had a good story. There was something in me that simply wasn't lined up with this book in some way that's very hard to explain to people. It was a memoir. It was about a lot of very, personal things. I mean, it would take me another day to explain why I couldn't write the book. But I did write the book, but why it wasn't the book I wanted to write. So even though I got this agent, even though I could, the next step, Ellen, write the book proposal. After 10 years, I got to this point. I just stopped communicating with the agent. So what was it in me? I felt like I totally failed. And okay, I'm not a writer. Forget that. I'll go on with the rest of my life. But this was a huge heartbreak. Huge heartbreak. So anyway, what he's saying is that there's something in you that is not getting out. There's some purpose you're missing out on. Some big thing. He says this is not when you get a cancer diagnosis, that's a big thing. It requires big attention. It requires a major turnaround in your life. And this was so exciting for me to think, oh my God, he's right. What am I going to do now? But to read how he actually has people heal by turning around. They start turning around. And in his practice, it takes like 2 years for people to turn around their beliefs and figure out, what is my life about? What is my purpose? What do I want to be my purpose? Am I really expressing it? Really in the way I want? Anyway, that was really great. So right now, I started working with an EFT practitioner, my teacher, who's really good. I'd done a lot of work over the last several months, doing EFT with other practitioners, especially matrix re-imprinting work, which is advanced EFT where you change beliefs. And I felt that it had been very helpful, but I still wasn't getting to the root. So I read this book and I said, okay, Rob, I need to change my beliefs about what I'm doing in my life, really. And after like 2-3 sessions with him, it was on January 31st. I went back and looked at my notes. because I always keep track of how many pills I take. I'm on palliative care, which is for people who have terminal disease and need pain medication. I was taking 8 oxycodone a day. And I took that many on January 30th because I had a lot of pain. January 31st, I took 1. The next day, I took 9.
Wow, Ellen.
Yeah. And I thought, well, this is nice. Is this just a little break? You know, what's happening? And it kept going. And I'm still on some base methadone, a very low dose of methadone, because I haven't been brave enough to get off it yet. It's kind of hard to get off it, so I'm going to talk to my nurse about that. And the tumor's not totally gone yet. Still have some pain. But those 8 pills since January 31st, this is now March 21st? Yeah. I mean, every now and then it'll spike up and I'll take like 3, 4 pills briefly. And that always has to do with the fact that my bowels stop moving. Excuse my too much information, but that's what happens with opiate. You get into this state. And because of the placement of the tumor, it causes pain. So I am now almost 2 months with a drastic reduction in my pain. I can feel there's nothing pressing anymore like it used to be, except for the occasional constipation. But, you know, I used to have this feeling of pressure. I couldn't feel the actual tumor, but I could feel the pressure. Gone. My energy level, you know, and I'm really, I'm not, I mean, the book is still like, is it happening? It's not. I'll do some work, then I'll stop. I'll do some work, then I'll stop. But I'm so thoroughly turning myself towards that and towards creative expression. I'm the kind of person who needs to be doing creative expression. Much of my life is about taking care of people. My work as an EFT practitioner, taking care of people. I live with my brother now. I make his meals every day, you know, dinner. I've always been, you know, I spend a lot of time. I'm a great homemaker. I'm really good at that kind of stuff. I'm good at cooking, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Knitting a sock for my sister, you know, knitting socks for my sister, making baby blankets for my niece's babies. I mean, there's always something to do that comes first before my own creative work. And I really get that now. And I'm turning the ship. It's like this big cruise ship, turning it around. It takes a while, but, you know, I would say right now, if we're going this way, if it was going this way and creating cancer, it's probably, you know, like, turned that much around. Now we're going around the other way. And, you know, this doctor says the energy of your life, that intense vitality and vigor has gone into cancer. So what you want to do is use that energy to go into your own life and really consciously, very deliberately think, what is it you really want? What do you need to do in order to really want to be here? You know, do you really want to be here? I'm 61. I could say, okay, that's enough. You know, do I have enough desire? Because I believe it's fine to die. I don't really have to be here to continue existence. But, you know, is there something I'm still not doing? What is it? How can I get myself to do it? What beliefs do I have to change in me to start turning that ship around and back towards me instead of towards cancer?
Wow. And it seems that the book project that you identified, it had kind of been left for dead for a while. It seems like the most important thing is how you feel about that, or how you feel about what you did, because it might be a different kind of project for somebody else, or a different subject.
Oh, definitely. This was totally personal.
It's not necessarily about going back and picking up that ball, because you may or may not want to do it, or it may have been a thing that passed and you're not really jazzed about it anymore. But it seems like the most important thing is how you think and feel about yourself with regard to it. You know, like forgiving yourself for your choices.
Right. And are you doing something else? Like whatever. Is there something to replace that? If you can
Right.
decide, yeah, I don't have to write that book. In fact, what I'm doing now is not quite the same. But that drive to create something was so important to me that I spent 10 years on it. Am I going to do something passionate for me for the next 10 years or am I not? So, yeah, it doesn't have to go. Yeah, you're right.
Or what form that might it take? It could take any
Yes,
number of forms, but
right.
it's a matter of like identifying that you had squelched your own passions and saying, okay, I forgive myself for this. How do I want to stop squelching and start expressing more? It could be different every
That's a good
day,
way to
right?
put it.
Yeah.
Right, right.
It all comes back to self-love.
Totally.
Mm.
Self-love. I know. Because I just feel so much more comfortable in the world now. I feel like I love myself in every moment. I don't think, oh, I was stupid there. I said something stupid. Or if I do, I say, oh, that's okay. There's no, I just don't feel like there's any point in spending time getting down on myself.
Good.
So this whole cancer journey has been so good to me. I feel like I'm much more alive.
And you're able to inspire other people because you were fortunate enough to have your sister as a role model close to you, um,
Right,
and and now through this video and all the other means that you get the word out there into the world, you're helping other people out there who are dealing with the same thing, who are at that perhaps at that point where they just got that so-called curse from the doctor and they're like,
right.
shit. There's always a way. There's different paths available, and you're
Yeah, and I would say most people aren't going to want to resist what the doctor tells them. And I think self-love is the same thing. Trust yourself, love yourself, whether you follow the doctor's orders or whether you go your own path. I feel like for me it was somewhat a simple choice because I wasn't going to live anyway, even if I did what the doctor said. So that's like, well, if I'm going to die anyway, I think I will see what I can do here. You know, I'll, I'll make an experiment of my life.
really
Because
brave.
it's,
Really
yeah,
brave.
well, yeah. But if the doctor had said, you have a 30% chance of living if you do these arduous treatments, would I have done that? I can't guarantee I would have still gone on my own path. I think I still would have gone on my own path just because I had cancer once before. And I remember doing treatments. And I'm so thoroughly convinced now that there are other ways to heal cancer. You know. But I really understand people who do the chemo and the radiation. I really totally get it. And I don't want people to think that's a mistake. A lot of people think what I'm doing is a mistake. So I don't want to turn around and say, oh, what you're doing is a mistake.
Right. There's
No mistake.
no need to invalidate any methods. They're all valid for different
Right.
times, different people. Right.
People do chemo and live.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come along and say, oh, don't do that. It's not my business.
Right. We're all individuals, so I mean,
Right, but I do want to get the word out. There are other ways.
that's right. And how could what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you if they want to do an EFT session with you?
My website is ellenryoung.com. So Ellen, ELLEN, R, Young, YOUNG.com. And I'm located in Napa, but I work over Skype, Napa, California. But I work over Skype phone.
Wonderful.
And I love you for asking me these questions. And I love all the people watching this. I feel that we're all in this together, and life is a grand experiment. And if we can't love it, even when it's dirty and messy, how are we going to create cool shit? So, yeah, loving it all. We're all together at the table.
Well said. Thank you. I love you too, Ellen.
Thank you,
Thank you
Debbie.
so much for this
Okay.
interview.
Okay. Bye.